The logistics sector accounts for 9% of the Kenyan GDP, and the next step of growth will be enabled by use of technology to improve efficiency. Peter Echessah, CEO of Safetrac, joins us now to discuss the trends, opportunities, and challenges in this sector. Logistics is one of the most vibrant sectors in Kenya. Just looking at even where we are located in the region, East Africa, we are strategic for trade and many other things. But give us a sense of where the sector is today. We are seeing growth, but we don't know where it's coming from, or even if we look at where it's coming from, maybe it's from other sectors. FMCG is doing well, manufacturing is still slow but not doing so badly. But where is the sector, because it interlinks most of all this?
I think what is happening right now is that there's a need to improve the efficiency in logistics, because we've been very big in terms of what we're using to move goods around the region. And Kenya being central, most of the goods that go to the hinterland in East Africa pass through the port of Mombasa. And to be able to become competitive or remain competitive, Kenya needs to be able to improve the efficiency of movement of goods through the corridor. And this requires the use of technology to do that. We need to go further by trying to improve the rate at which cargo is charged. To do that, it means we need to have fewer vehicles on the road. To have fewer vehicles on the road means we need to have better efficiency and productivity. And this is part of what we're trying to do by applying technology to achieve this.
You just mentioned that there's need to have fewer trucks on the road, but at the same time, fleet management is at the heart of your business. What does this mean for you? What
used to happen is that when you had a truck and it carried transit cargo, let's say to Uganda, you were never allowed by law to carry cargo back, which means you came back empty. Now, another truck had to carry some cargo that is needed for export from Uganda, but not the same truck that took goods there, which means you had almost double the number of trucks that were needed to transport cargo along the corridor. Now, when electronic cargo tracking started, the law was changed, or the act was changed to allow that if you went with cargo, you could actually come back carrying cargo as well. So you can see that already started reducing the number of trucks on the road. Now, we are going further, and what we want to do is to create what we call a freight exchange. Now, freight exchange is commonly used in very many developed countries. What it does, it means that when you have cargo, you don't have to look for a transporter. You put it on a platform. Describe what cargo it is, where you want it to be conveyed from, and the destination and the dates you want that to happen. Then you've got transporters who will then log into the platform, pre-vetted transporters. They log into the platform and they bid. When they bid, it means you can have your cargo. When you have your truck carrying cargo and it's going somewhere, it doesn't have to come back empty. What we are trying to provide by signing up this agreement with the Turkish company is to be able to provide a system that enables you manage the fleet rather than just find out where your truck is. What makes the Kenyan logistics sector vibrant, especially talking about policies? Because we've seen people like the World Bank saying that, talking about logistics friendliness, Kenya is second from South Africa in sub-Saharan region. Some of the policies that have already changed, I mean, you imagine the policy that used to be there where transit goods through Kenya, they had to be weighed at every weigh station, okay? And that's what you call NTB, a non-tariff barrier, basically. Number two is you had that any transit cargo that was being carried through Kenya, any truck conveying transit cargo could not carry cargo back. So if you carried cargo to Uganda, if you're coming back and there's cargo in Mumias, there's cargo in Eldoret, you couldn't do it. Once these policies get removed, and they have not been removed completely, the issue of carrying cargo back still requires that you must get a written authority to be able to carry cargo back. Number two, the issue of weigh bridges. Remember, we need to be able to enforce the axle load rule, because what happens is our roads, of course, are high in maintenance. The heavier the trucks, the more damage they do on the roads. So they have reduced the number of weighbridges, but they have not eliminated them completely.
Now, the sector seems to be struggling with capacity constraints, especially when you talk about warehousing. What does this mean for the sector as a whole?
One of the things that is hindering the investment in this sector is that you find that investment in any warehouse, there's a lot of issues that are required for you to be able to come up with a world-class system. One of the issues that really makes it difficult is the issue of licensing to be able to do anything. We still have too many licenses, although recently the government is talking or making the right noises, if I may say, by trying to reduce the number of licenses one needs to be able to do business in the country. That's one positive step. If that is done, number two, we also need to be able to improve enforcement of various rules, because the challenge you have with warehousing is, of course, also the security. So very few companies can give you world-class warehousing where you can trust that things will happen. And what we're trying to do right now is to team up with people who already have idle space in various locations without necessarily having to build up new warehousing structures.